Next up in the workroom.
More than meets the eye. Hey guys, welcome back. We are still continuing on our path down Starscream Alley. So what we're going to do is we are going to continue doing the pinstriping on his wings, and then we're going to get to his canopy. Now, here's the great thing. I found a base for him. Unfortunately, it's just a plain base from Games Workshop. Means I have to get creative and figure out a base on my own. See what I got in the see what I have in the old workshop here to figure out what I can make for him. Do I want to do something just plain, or do I want to try and figure out something like Optimus and try and do a nice scenic base? If I do that, I have to glue all the stuff together, prime it before I stick the Starscream to the base. So you know what? While we're painting Starscream, we're going to give it a think, and just kind of go from there. So let's hop right into it. Again, we're going to use the ceramite white to do the pinstripes. And we're going to kind of continue on our way, doing what we do best, and that's painting miniatures. Alright. Got some white on there. See how it flows. Might have to water it down a little bit more. Actually, it's not too bad. No, a little bit more water. Water that. Paint down. And I hope everybody out there is still weathering their various lockdowns or whatever it is they have to endure and suffer and get through. And I hope that you find your hobby time. It's a nice way to fill up the time that you have to just sit around and do nothing. I know that's what I'm doing. Starting to get a pretty good jump on my new army, so that's the thing. Okay, cool. So check the display, make sure I don't have it too far up and out of the way, so you guys can still see that I'm in fact painting and not up here. You don't know if I'm painting. Well, I guess you can in the main camera. In the small camera you can see it, but I hope you're only leaving the house for essentials like hobby equipment and food runs, I guess. Well, hello there, little man. Everybody, this is Toothless. He is my studio cat. He likes to be with me, pretty much wherever I am. Yeah. Say hi, Toothless. Or smell my brush. Whatever you like. That's my butt. Yeah. So you'll probably hear him from time to time meeping and mowing and doing cat things all throughout the studio. He likes to make sure that his dad is safe, and he does a real good job of that. He also likes to make sure that I don't get lost at my table and spend hours and hours and hours sitting here painting. You know, he reminds me that I have important things to do, like play with him, which is a good thing. I absolutely love the fact that he comes and reminds me. Of course, sometimes he thinks that, you know, sitting down at the table for 10 minutes, or not even 10 minutes, 6 minutes, is too long, and I need to take a break and go and play. And that's when I have to try and, you know, break his little furry heart and tell him that Dad still has some work to do before I can go and do cat play stuff. And then he just sits on the chair next to me and waits. Waits like a good little boy. Yeah, that's pretty good. You can kind of see there. There we are. Now we move to the fun ones. Now we move to the ones that are on the inside. The wings where his arms are. Because there's nothing more fun than trying to paint around obstacles. This is one of the reasons why I like sub-assemblies. Sub-assemblies help you get into areas you might not be able to get into normally. Because other model parts or other miniature parts are in the way. Also, it's a little bit harder to be as neat. But you do your best. Hey, it's food time for the studio cats. You are definitely going to hear those boys. And also, my little man will now leave me alone for a little while. Because it's food time! It's time for the kittens to eat. You'll probably hear crunching and munching and all that cool stuff. Because their food bowl is right here by the old paint pit. Which is kind of what I lovingly call my studio area. So many things happening in the studio today that you're going to hear in the background. It's kind of crazy. But that's okay. Because we're starting to get the inside lines. Now, these aren't as crisp and clean as I like them. I'm going to have to go back and tidy them up. But, you know, we're doing the best we can with arms in the way, and I'm sure there's other painters out there. I'm not necessarily the best painter in the world. I have seen some phenomenal painters, but I'm not the worst painter. I'm decent enough that I can at least do this series and, make things look good. Now this one will be a little bit easier, a little bit nicer, because of how the arm is laid out. So this white line should almost, well, it may not be perfect, but it'll be close. Again, I'm actually using the lines that are cut into the wing as guidelines to keep it nice and straight. And I'm actually kind of liking that. Helps you paint. Helps you make the lines look nice and crisp. Now I'm going to go into review mode here for 2 seconds and say that honestly, the primer that they have on these miniatures aren't, at least I've found, isn't exactly bad, but isn't exactly great. Of course, with him not having him on a base and not having him on a handle and stuff like that, I actually have to touch him quite a bit, and in doing so, some of the paint is actually rubbing off. So I wasn't too pleased about that. So far, that's really the only downside that I've been able to find about the pre-primed uh, miniatures. That sometimes, because you're handling your miniatures for whatever reason, because you're painting them, because you're playing with them, because whatever, the paint seems to be rubbing off on the corners. here. There, you can kind of see right there on his torso. So, and a little bit on the foot, and a little bit on the hands. Now that probably just comes from me handling him and moving him because I have to get to different angles and paint him. But not ideal. This means that every now and then you have to go in and repaint them. Let's see if I can make those lines a little crisper again. Yeah, a little better. Still not as nice and crisp as some of the line work that I've done, but it works. Now we're going to move on to something fun. We are actually going to do the canopy, which is yellow. So we are going to take, oh, there it is, Averland Sunset. Again, all paints that I've been using are GW paints. Now, it's also possible that GW paints and the Vallejo primers might not work great together, but as far as I know, primer is primer, and paints are paints. I know the formulations are a little bit differently, so it is entirely possible that the GW paints just don't stick. To the Vallejo primer as well as they stick to their own primer. And since I use, like I said, since I use basically strictly GW paints, I use GW primers. So each paint system might be formulated for their own primers, or the primers might be formulated for their paint systems. I'm not really sure how that works, but I just paint miniatures. I don't necessarily know the science behind how the paint stuff works. Although, no, I'm kind of curious. Anyway. Boom. At least the base part of the canopy is done. Nice and fast. Okay, so what we've done so far today, if you've been following along, is we finished the 3 white stripes. So we have the 2 on the back, the 2 on the inside, and we've done the yellow of the canopy. And what we have to do is we have to do the red of the eyes. So we're actually going to go use a slightly lighter, we're going to use Evil Sun Scarlet. We're going to use a small layer brush, a little bit finer tip. And we're going to put some red in the eyes, and then we're going to bring down the black onto the nose. And see how that goes. Water it down a little bit. There we go. Where the eyes are done, those are quick as just done. And you can sit there and you can put a little spot of brighter red in there if you want to. I might do that later. Right now we're gonna fix his nose. There we go. Starscream, old buddy. You looking alright. The only problem with having studio cats is that, well, they leave pieces of themselves, their fur, obviously, on a lot of my projects. And it is what it is. Okay. So we're going to just take a minute here. And we've done no highlighting or anything. We've left them pretty plain, but you can see we have Starscream. It's all ready to go off. There we go. Go off and fight. Fight the Autobots. Get in there and mix it up, as you know, as he does. Now again, this is just a very plain, very plain, no pun intended, but it's a very plain paint job. There's nothing fancy about it, no highlights, no lowlights. You know, I didn't go to quite to the extremes that well, I shouldn't say extremes, but I didn't quite go to the level that I did with Prime. Prime, you know, Prime, you can see. There we go. I did highlights and washes, and you know, made him look a little bit better. Even gave his windows some gloss. You know, made Prime look a little bit better. Oh, I got some silver on his fist. I'll have to go back and fix that. But anyway, but side by side, you can see the comparison. They still look great. They still look good. But it does show you that you can, you know, do two different levels and still have them look okay. If anything, I might add either a little bit of black, which I still happen to have out, let's do medium layer. Do a little bit of the black, or at least take a little bit, and I put it in that chest cavity where these got like the little fan things. You know, it's all good. Just helps you. It helps break up the red of the chest. Also gives you something interesting to kind of look at. There we go. Just a little bit of the black right there on the chest. Now I'll look at some other online pictures, and maybe if they're like a silver or something like that, I'll change it to a. Well, you know what? Let's do it now. Let's do it now. We've got a couple seconds. We're going to use a nice dark metallic silver on these. So it still keeps it in that nice dark theme. It gives you, but again, it gives you just a little something interesting to look at. There we go. Just that quick, that fast. That detail is done. Toothless is on his chair. It's a great day in the workshop. Now, except for the base, which we haven't figured out yet, there is your Starscream. And again, like I said, he's very, very plain. Plain. But it's just a plain paint job, not too much to him. No highlights, no anything like that. But we'll see what happens. Anyway, it's time for me to go. So I want everybody to stay safe, stay at home. Remember, keep practicing your social distancing. Wear your masks or gloves or whatever it is that you have to do. Whatever requirements that your local or provincial, state, or government tells you that you got to do it. And we'll see you again in the workshop. So again, paint safe out there, everybody. We'll see you soon.